You know, when we think about history, our minds usually jump to big names and epic events. But sometimes, the most fascinating stories are hiding in plain sight, in the quiet details of a life that seems, at first glance, pretty ordinary. Today, we're going to be detectives. We're going to piece together the incredible story of one woman, Emily Carringer, using the clues she left behind in the archives. Let's see what we can find. This is how her family remembered her. It's just a beautiful way to start, right? It gives us this immediate, warm feeling for the person at the very center of our story. But, a description is one thing. To really understand her life, we need more. So, how do we do that? Well, that's where the data comes in. We're going to use things like census records, old newspaper clippings, and even property deeds. Think of them like puzzle pieces. And as we put them together, we're going to reconstruct her life and see all of its twists and turns.
All right, let's dive in. Every story has a beginning, and Emily's is no different. We're going to start with what the official records tell us about her birth and her early years growing up in Chicago.
And here it is, the very first piece of our puzzle, the official record. On August 19, 1899, Emily Kemp Auble was born in Chicago. For the first part of her childhood, the Windy City was her whole world. Now, around 1911, the family actually packed up and moved west to San Diego, probably for a fresh start. But just a few years after that, their new life hit a major roadblock. Her father passed away, and this was a huge, life-altering event. The records show she had to drop out of San Diego High School to get a job and help support her mom. That one event changed everything for her. So she's forced to adapt. Emily starts to build a totally new life for herself out in California. Let's follow her on that journey, in a city that would really come to define the entire rest of her story. Just try to imagine that shift. One minute, she's a high school kid in San Diego, and the next, she's working at Marston's department store to make ends meet. But it was there that she met a Marine Corps reservist named Lyle Carringer, which led to the biggest change on this list, her last name. And I just love this find, a little clipping from the local paper in 1918. It gives us this perfect, candid snapshot. It says their wedding was a complete surprise to their friends. You can just feel the buzz as Emily, wearing a blue silk suit with a large white hat, marries Lyle. Okay, so just 2 years go by and the 1920 census makes it all official. We see their new little family unit. There's Lyle, the head of the household, Emily, now a 20-year-old wife, and their baby daughter, Betty, who's just 5 months old. And this is really important. We see Emily's widowed mom, Georgia, living right there with them, a family dynamic that would last for decades to come. Pretty soon after that census was taken, this growing family decided it was time to put down some real roots. They built a home that would become the absolute center of their world for the next 30 years, a house on Fern Street. And check this out. Tucked away in the family records is this little number, $21.10. Can you believe it? That was their monthly mortgage payment for the house they built in 1920. It's a tiny detail, but it really just grounds you in the reality of what life was like back then. Now let's fast forward a decade. The 1930 census shows a really stable family. They own their home, it's now valued at $10,000, and Lyle's working as an accountant. He managed to keep his job all through the Great Depression. Their daughter Betty is 10 years old now, and Emily's mom, Georgia, is still a vital part of the household. But the thing is, the house on Fern Street was way more than just a home. It became the canvas for Emily's greatest passion, a passion that, believe it or not, would get her name in the newspaper for a completely different reason. And this quote shows you Emily was not just messing around in the backyard. Her garden was so incredible, it was actually featured in the San Diego Union. The newspaper didn't just see a garden, they saw an outdoor living room, a beautiful space that the whole community could look up to. And what a garden it was. I mean, listen to this. The article talks about this amazing backyard oasis with not one, but 4 fish pools, a furnished lath house, a built-in grill, and get this, a heated glass house just for tropical fish. This was way more than a hobby. It was a whole world she built. I absolutely love this detail. In the middle of this incredible garden, there's a tree that looked like it was floating on water. But its secret, it was held up by an old piano stool. It's just the perfect little example of the family's cleverness and charm. You know, taking something ordinary and making it magical.
So after spending decades on Fern Street, a whole new chapter started for the family. In the late 1940s, they began a series of moves that would eventually lead them to create one last custom-built home.
And that brings us to the final phase of their life together. They sold their beloved home and garden to build a new dream on a hill overlooking the city, a place with a view from Point Loma. So how'd they pull it off? Well, the property records lay it all out for us. In August of 1950, they bought a vacant lot with a killer view for less than $4,000. Just 1 month later, they sold their Fern Street house for more than double that. And with that money, they built their custom redwood retirement home, a place with an absolutely fantastic view of the bay. Now, while they were building that new home, the 1950 census taker actually caught them living temporarily in Lyle's parents' old house. And look who's still there with them. Emily's mom, Georgia, now 82 years old. This one document is just such a powerful testament to a family bond that spans over 30 years and multiple homes. It's really incredible. So, as she entered her later years, living in that beautiful dream home on Point Loma, what was Emily's legacy? Well, the records show a life that was really defined by the passions she cultivated and the family she absolutely adored. Her obituary paints this picture of a woman who was just so engaged with her world. She wasn't just a gardener, she became a master judge for national competitions. She was involved in community groups like the Point Loma Assembly, Ecabana International, and maybe most importantly, she was a doting grandmother to her 3 grandsons. After a long illness and only 7 months after losing her husband Lyle, Emily's story came to a peaceful close. She was 77 years old. And just like that, the same archives that started with her birth certificate now end with her death certificate, bringing her entire journey full circle. From just a name on a census form to a celebrated gardener in the local paper, Emily Carringer's life is proof that an amazing story lives inside the data. Even without a diary, the documents we all leave behind, birth certificates, property deeds, even just a mention in the newspaper, they all weave together to tell a powerful and totally unique story. It just goes to show you, every single life is a story just waiting to be discovered.